These scenes that played out in Parliament last week were but a sign of things to come as legislators who supported the Public Order Management Bill tried to get it passed. Barely a week later, tempers flared as the controversial document was passed in an equally controversial manner, having been allegedly smuggled up the order paper itinerary. With the exception of MPs against it, civil society bodies are among the biggest resistors of the Public Order Bill. They continue to condemn it and have described Tuesday's developments in Parliament as a letdown to the population.
Ideally, one has to ask himself or herself, does that bill actually, is that bill consistent with the mandate of Parliament? Is it consistent with their function to legislate for good governance in particular?
Absolute rights against torture, cruel, inhuman and degrading treatment, among others, are provided for under Article 44 of the Constitution. However, Dr. Livingstone Sewanyana of the Foundation for Human Rights Initiative argues that although the right to assemble is not an absolute freedom, the law of the land provides it protection as well as other rights in the interest of the public.
But then the same Constitution has also made it very clear what actually amounts to public interest. You know, as long as there is no persecution, public interest will not allow persecution and will not allow any act that would not be acceptable in a free and a democratic society. So you need also to look at the bill in that context.
Some of the civil society organizations and other stakeholders regarded the bill as an illegal law during the discussion.
It is very clear that the Public Order Management Bill is null and void. And any law that is void is not law. And that is the position that this law will take. And I'm sure that no court can pronounce itself otherwise on this law.
Opposers of this highly likely soon to become law say that it will affect congregating in places of worship like church, especially if the sermon will center around issues to do with governance or democracy.
If, as a preacher, and I want sheikhs and clergy and pastors to hear this, if you are a preacher and you are in the pulpit and you say universal primary education is a good policy, but it is failing, and it has failed, General Kale Kayihura could send his police, or if there is a policeman in the congregation, he might suddenly say, hey, this church service has become a public meeting because the preacher is criticizing government programs.
The Prime Minister, Amama Mbabazi, while appearing on NTV talk show On the Spot last night, defended the bill's passing, saying it will help in upholding law and order.
You actually may be prevented by those who have competing interests, competing with you, from actually demonstrating. So the police has a duty to protect you.
The police must give you authority, must give you power to meet. Why should it be an interest of the police to give me power, which power is given to me by the Constitution? So it's working the other way around.
The bill seeks to regulate public meetings, specifies the duties and responsibilities of the police, the organizers and the participants of public meetings. It also prescribes measures for safeguarding public order, states that all public meetings must only take place during daytime. When enacted into an Act of Parliament after getting the President's assent, the law will specify the procedure to be followed when organizing an assembly, a procession or demonstration, as well as the penalties and sanctions to be imposed on those who breach the law. Gabriel Epeni, NTV.